guys, welcome back to another video with Gael's Garage. In this video, I will be talking about the Evap system that is usually found on the EFI 500s, but might not be on all of them. Definitely varies on the region you're in, but being this the California compliant, this does have the Evap. And basically I'll be going over what it is, what it does, all the bits and pieces that are connected to it, and why am I removing it. All right, to begin, so what is an EVAP system? It's basically an evaporative emission control system that takes the vapors from the gas tank itself, routes them through uh, that canister right there, filters it, and pushes those vapors back into the throttle body to be reburned again. Basically prevents the fumes, gases, whatever you want to call it, into the environment. All right, so let's jump onto the design and how it functions. So the hose that you see right here is known as the overflow slash the vapor breather hose, which routes under the frame to this purge valve. And the whole point of this valve is to pump that vapor into the hose all the way down to that evap canister. And basically the vapors come in, get filtered, and exit through the secondary hose that route all the way back through under the seat and back into that purge valve. Couple things, the canister itself has a breather vent, and then the catch here is there's actually a split T right here, and that hose connects to the throttle body. So on to the main question, why do I want to remove it? My personal opinion, it does not go with the styling of the bike. This is known as a true retro classic. And I don't think there's any retro true classic that has an evap canister. So as far as looks, I think that is an ugly box. So, and previously in my video, you guys saw that I tried my best cleaning up all the wirings I have for the accessories that I have mounted. So this will actually clean up all that back and forth underneath the gas tank. So I'm looking forward to that. But there are a couple factors that you have to keep in mind as you're removing this system, as you don't want to enrich the mixture. So I'm trying my best to make this video as detailed as possible because I couldn't find much of a content out there that really explains how the gas tank also works and all the functions. So technically this is our main fuel line, right, that connects to the injectors, to the throttle body. And if you can see, that right there is what that hose attaches to. And just a bit of a comparison between the newer and the older models is the older ones didn't really have an evap. What they had was actually a hole and a vent underneath this gas cap itself, which helped those vapors to exit. But since this cap is completely sealed, you will actually see a vent pipe right here. So this actually connects all the way down to that breather hose, which again connects to this hose, and that's where that purge valve comes in and routes to that evap canister and does the whole cycle. I do want to point out this very important thing that Royal Enfield recommends is not to overfill the tank, because if we do overfill the tank, the fuel actually enters this breather pipe, eventually routes down there, and now you're going to have fuel with vapors into your evap hoses, which is eventually going to enter the evap canister and collect fuel in there. Over a period of time, this is where, you know, most of you might have experienced as you're parking this in a garage, where the garage eventually stinks like fuel. That is the reason why. And I don't think you can actually open that to empty it. It's a replacement unit. So you're gonna have to replace that entire system. And that's one of the reasons I'm removing it. Second is this purge valve. If this goes bad, If it stays open or closed, that could result in missing. One more thing I don't want to forget and point out is, so I technically haven't experienced this, but just to throw it out there, if you are overfilling this and you're parking the motorcycle on a side stand, not on a center stand, uh, that is eventually going to move the fuel to that vent tube, which is again going to result fuel routing into those evap hoses. So as recommended, I believe it's 10.3 liters by the company. But again, I do have a bad habit of topping my tank. So that's another thing I won't have to worry about, after removing this system. So a quick summary of what I'm going to be doing. Oh, of course. Roger. Hi. All right, got distracted. So quick summary of what I'm going to be doing basically is removing all the hoses, including the canister, of course, and the bracket. I am not going to be removing the hose that is attached to the throttle body that gets teed right here. We are going to simply plug that hose, and also this overflow that gets connected to the gas tank. I'm not going to be removing it. We're still going to be attaching it to the gas tank. And what I'm going to be doing is actually getting a longer hose, which eventually either going to route all the way to the back of the frame and keep it open. So even though if additional gas goes in there, it can just exit out, or it will just help the tank breathe, right? If that's not the case, then I think another simple route might be just, routing it to the front, right in front of the leg guard. I think I might just do that. All right, guys, this is my final setup before I cut off this zip tie ends. So now we have this overflow breather hose that will connect to the gas tank. I have routed this along similar to how the stock setup was. And then this goes out to, and this comes out to the side, and probably just gonna zip tie it right here. I feel like this is the most cleanest, where not much of that hose is shown. If you do go with the route of simply going to the front, then obviously you'll have that hose visible here, right? So yeah, and I'm gonna put the tank back. Lastly, guys, I just want to quickly touch base on why we shouldn't directly attach the overflow breather hose to the throttle body. Instead, you know how we plugged it. The reason why you shouldn't directly attach it is because it is going to create a rich mixture. And when that happens, it is going to introduce engine noise. It is going to affect your performance. Also, over a period of time, the spark plugs could go bad, as technically more fuel going in. Rich mixture basically means your spark plugs will stay wet, and that could also introduce black smoke coming out of the exhaust. And as far as performance, you will have to, when the engine is hot, that's when the performance will most likely lag, as you will have to open the throttle a little bit more in order to accelerate. So that's the reason why we shouldn't directly just connect the overflow to the throttle body. Keep them separate, plug the throttle body. This one, just move it out so it can drain. That's all. Thanks.